Ladies and gentlemen, hailing from Cleveland, Ohio, I give you BVO.
Oh, we boxing? Yeah, we boxing. I need that belt like it ain't no other option. So we punching and weaving and blocking. Defeat ain't an option. Let them know, shoot a video, put it on BVO. Let them know, every time I punch, it's a heavy blow. BVO, bound to hit like bricks cause it was set in stone. Let them know, I ain't getting body, but I'ma hit this flow. Yeah, way more than a show, this is BVO.
Yo, what's up? It's your boy BBO Boxing. We in the house. Oh man, I forgot to pay the bills. Let me hit our sponsor up.
You got B3 Picks here at it again. Proud to announce a brand new partnership with BVO Sports TV and B3BoxingPicks.com. Let's go green. At B3BoxingPicks.com, we provide pre-fight boxing picks of the week, but also live boxing betting options so we can make money pre-fight or during the fight betting on the beautiful sport of boxing. Join now, only $10 a week or $25 a month by visiting B3BoxingPicks.com for the membership. Also follow me on all socials at B3 Boxing Picks. Follow my YouTube, Not Another Boxing channel, presented by B3 Picks. And shout out to the People's Network, the one and only Sports Talk Network. Let's go green.
On behalf of BVO Boxing TV, we would like to thank our sponsor, Raycon. Don't forget to grab your Raycon Everyday Earbuds, the perfect bass model for premium sound, with active noise cancellation to block out distractions and transparency mode to keep you aware of your surroundings. They're ideal for your everyday needs. Just visit RayconGlobal.com. That's RayconGlobal.com and elevate your listening experience.
Yo, what's up? It's your boy BBO Sports TV. Man, let everybody know around the world, BBO Sports TV is back. Let everybody know that we back. I'm in the house with my favorite Puerto Rican. I'm in the house with my man Praz, aka Manager Calvin. What's going on? How you brothers doing?
It's nasty. Salute.
What's good?
So we got a big show today, man. One thing I'm gonna get it right out, man. Shout out, man, to everybody that support the channel, man. And I appreciate everybody that comes through and shows us love, man. We gotta talk about this, man. So we heard about different fans, calling Shakur out, which I understand because Shakur has not shown a willingness to make this Tank fight. Now he's saying Tank should sign with Turkey Al-Sheikh, which we know that won't happen. Let me ask you guys this before we get to the fan element of it. Is Shakur really, does he not really want this fight, or it just seems that way? K Savoy, salute, Picasso, TD, duh.
It seems that way. I think he wants to fight. I think he just wanted on his terms. He won everything pretty much in his favor. We got to remember Shakur has never, for the most part, has been the B-side. I think the only time he might have been the B-side was the Oscar Valdez fight, but even there, I think that might have been a 50-50 fight. So I don't think Shakur has ever been the B-side. So he's used to having things on his terms. So maybe that's probably what it is.
Oh, you say he's never been the B-side. Oh, okay, that makes sense. I'll just say this: the thing that's so crazy is I can see I see why fans get so disgusted with him, because he says everything but let's fight. And I think that's just a travesty in itself. But I think that Shakur is an excellent fighter. I mean, he's probably one of the most boring fighters I've ever seen in my whole life of watching boxing. I've never seen a guy that boring. But as far as fighting, if you like that boring hit, run, because I'm gonna be honest, let's put it out there. Pernell Whitaker did not run. Floyd Mayweather didn't run. These guys strategically moved out of the way and dodged punches, but they were always in range. And I feel like when I watch Shakur, it's very evident that he's not in range. So if he's not in range, then that means he's not looking to return fire. He's just looking to get out the way, and that's running. What would you say, Free?
I say maybe one or two fights he did that. I say for the most part he's in range. That was the thing that everybody gave Shakur praises for, the ability to judge distance. I think the De Los Santos fight, he pretty much stayed out of range, and the Jeremiah Nakafita fight, he stayed out of range for the most part. But I think for the most part, he's always been in range. Like I said, he's always got praise for being able to judge distance. I just think Shakur, he's not the type of fight that you look for an exciting fight. If you're looking for somebody for an exciting fight, Shakur is probably not the first person that comes to mind. So it all depends on what you're looking for in a fight. If you're looking for a boxing clinic, then that's something that you look for when you see Shakur Stevenson.
No, I'll ask you this though, Free. Why do you think people misrepresent what Floyd and Pernell was doing? Because you even one of the fights that me and you have since we've been working together, have been talking about in the Pernell Whitaker fight, with Oscar. Pernell was right in front of Oscar. He even dropped him. I mean, he was like, it was just Oscar was missing. I don't know what Pernell was doing, but Oscar just was missing. I mean, because he was right in his face. So why do you think people like Floyd and Pernell get misrepresented as if they were running? Because they weren't running. You know what I mean? That's a difference to what Shakur is doing or what we seen in Evans' last fight. What would you say?
I mean, if anybody ever said that Pernell was running or Floyd was running, they don't know what they're watching, because there's a difference in running and making someone miss. When you make someone miss and make them pay, that's not running. That's just making them miss. But if you did what Devin Haney did in the Jose Ramirez fight, if you do what Shakur did in the De Los Santos fight, that's what people will consider running. That's why I always say we can't compare these fighters to other guys, especially anybody that we consider a legend or great in the sport of boxing. We can't compare these fighters to that level because these guys haven't fought on that level yet. They haven't fought anybody to say that they are a great fighter or they're a legendary fighter. These guys have fought guys who was mediocre, who was coming out of their prime, or guys that was not on their level. They might have been good fighters, but they wasn't on their level. When we talk about guys like Shakur, Floyd, and we talk about Pernell, we talk about Oscar, they fought guys that was on their level or better than them in some people's opinion, and they perform at the highest level. So that's why I don't like comparing fighters of today with the guys from back in the day, because it's two different types of competition that you're looking at. These guys don't have anybody that you consider are great fighters to say, okay, yeah, this is a great fighter. Like it's just not that type. And I can't blame the fighters. It just, that's what they were dealt with. So they gotta be good to the guys that's in front of them. But to say that they the next Floyd Mayweather or they the next Oscar, no, I'm not putting these guys on those levels, because there's nobody to give them that type of run to say, yeah, you know what, they might be on that Floyd level or that Oscar level. It's not enough top level fighters to say that.
Well, let me run this by you, Free, because I like what you said. And shout out to Beanie Free, even though he got a baseball cap on. This nigga Free been on this game, man. Shout out to Free, man. You can't even disagree with this Puerto Rican. He been spitting some game these last few weeks. I see what you doing, Free. I see what you doing. But speaking of that, man, I would disagree with you, because when I seen Gary Russell Jr., I don't care what nobody say, he looked like he was a Hall of Famer from the gate. The movement, the boxing ability, the range. It was like the only thing that was wrong with him, he was just too miniature. We just hated that he was such a miniature guy that you wanted him to get in there with the big chest who would fight him. And I'll tell you something else. I kind of realized that Loma was the goods, and this is me being totally transparent. When I seen him beat Gary Russell Jr., that's when I said Loma has arrived. Loma's that guy, because no matter how you put it, I get what you're saying about great fighters, but when I seen Gary Russell Jr., when I seen Keith, one time Thurman, I said, man, these mofos is Hall of Famers, man. They got Hall of Fame talent. What would you say to that?
I see what you're trying to do. You want to bring Gary into the situation because you know,
Oh, Gary's my guy. Don't play that. Gary Jr. is my guy.
I see what you're doing, but I mean, even to that, I respect Gary. I give Gary all the utmost respect. But even at that, what great fighter has Gary Russell beat? What guy did you say, you know what? I didn't think Gary was going to win that fight, but the way he pulled that out, man, I got to give it to him. There was nobody on Gary's level when he fought those guys. They wasn't on Gary's level. There wasn't guys that was better than
that says something. He was amazing.
But what I'm saying is, even the guys that he beat, and you say, you know what, Gary made that dude look amateur. How good were those guys? The guys that he wanted to fight that we consider was good guys, they didn't get in a ring with him. So I believe Gary is one of the best fighters I've seen at 126 in a long time. But even at that level, Gary never showed his talent against another great guy. The only other person you could put him in there with is Loma, and he lost that fight. Yeah, he wanted a rematch. He never got the rematch, but he lost that fight. So I'm looking at the level of talent that he did. Now, it's not nothing to take away from Gary, because I believe Gary is a hell of a talented fighter. But the level of talent that he was in there with, they wasn't on his level and they wasn't above him. Those was guys that Gary was supposed to be. So it's still kind of hard. Like, you could look at it and say, you know what? The eye test tell me that this dude got skills. But until he's actually in there with somebody that's on the same level playing field, you don't really know how good a person is. I believe Gary is good. I believe Antoine is good. But until they prove it against another person that we believe is on that same level or above them, you really don't know. That's just your opinion.
I would say this, man, before we get started, man. Shout out to my man Varnell Hill, man, all the way from Middle Georgia, man. We don't know what Middle Georgia is, but Varnell's from there.
That's crazy.
Shout out to my man Varnell. What's going on, Varnell Hill? How you feeling, man?
Shout out to my brother Sombrero, man. Shout out to the master debater. D Free is in the building. Shout out to my brother Price in the building, man. Salute to the family, man. What's going on?
Ready.
So let me ask you. I'll start with you this time, Dub. So we talking about, Shakur Stevenson has kind of had an unwillingness to kind of make this tank fight. It's almost like when you take a girl on a date, she said, well, you gotta take me to the movies. Okay, now you gotta take me to go get ice cream cone. Now you gotta do this, now you gotta do that. And you just look at your billfold and say, well, how much is it really?
Crazy.
But that's a joke. So to my brother Billy pulling up, man. I'll just say this: when you look at Shakur, I feel like he got all the goods. But do you think he doesn't want the tank fight, or you just think that's just kind of him not doing a good job of conveying that the business has to be right? What would you say to that, Varnell?
Well, my thing is that the whole making the fights and getting these things going, I don't know who to blame no more. I don't know what you want from me, because after a while, we done talked about it so many times, and ain't nothing changed. And I mean, I don't know if it's him. I don't know if it's Tank. I don't know what it is. You know what I'm saying? And so when we get to that piece of the business, man, I done gave up, just to be quite honest. I more or less let me talk about the fights. I think D Free said it perfectly. We here to report on what happens inside the damn ring. Unless you out of order, outside the ring, you kidnapping children or trafficking drugs or something like that. We don't give a damn no more. I don't. Me personally, I don't care no more. So
I don't care no more either, Dub. I
we
lost hope a long time ago.
hey, give me the fights, man. I don't know who it's on. I don't know if contracts with Senate people didn't agree, if they disagree. I don't know what it is no more. And so I done threw my hands up in there and said, and I ain't gonna use the wrong terminology on your platform. I apologize. I ain't gonna treat you like you treat me. You know what I'm saying? I know how to keep it civilized around here, unlike certain individuals. So,
Yeah.
but all I say is at the end of the day, screw them until they fight. Screw them. Hey, I don't know what you want from me. I don't give a damn. I mean, excuse me, I don't care no more. And so I don't know if he want to fight. If he don't, one day he gonna knock somebody out. Next day his hands hurt. I don't know. So I mean, what? I don't know what you want from me.
I don't know either, Dub. Like I lost hope, man. These boys, I don't know if it's the suits, I don't know if it's the individual, but whatever it is, I'm with you. I've been through my hands up, and I don't care no more, like you said, Dub. I don't know how else to say it, bro.
Hold on. And real quick, Sombrero. My brother Pride just said something. When I first got on YouTube, one of the things I came here to do, I said, man, hey, we gotta expose these suits, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
The folks behind the scene that's sitting there tweaking things, the Samson Luka witches, the Bob Arams, the Al Haymans, the Eddie Hearns, what's Golden Boy? What's the cokehead name?
Oscar.
Go on. You talk about the greatest fighter alive, Oscar De La Hoya, man. Come on.
All I'm trying to tell you,
this is a sick Negro.
Hey, Prize Fighter said it. He said it the best. I don't know if it's the suits. I don't know if it's the fighters. I done seen fighters that went against the suits and end up getting knocked out. Big Baby Anderson, Jared, Big Baby, excuse me. But at the same time, he pushed for the fight. He made the fight happen. You know what I'm saying? Was it in his interest? Who knows? But he made the fight. And so I think that a lot of these guys, man, Ryan Garcia trying to fight Tank Davis, pushed for the fight, made the fight happen. Ryan Garcia trying to fight Devin Haney, pushed for the fight, made the fight happen. Said, forget Golden Boy, I'm gonna go through my lawyers.
Right.
Was it the most wise decision? Who knows? But they was trying to make these fights happen. And so you give them credit, even though he a racist. Hey, you give people credit for trying to make the fights happen. So I think that, man, we gotta put it on these fighters. We're gonna hold you accountable. If you ain't making the damn fights, then I don't know what you want from me. I ain't finna talk too much about you until I see you in the ring. That's what we done got out of order, because we's talking about guys that ain't even fighting no more. They guys that done been out the ring for 6-7 months. We still talking about these guys. We should be focusing on these young and upcoming fighters. We should be putting more attention on them. The people who fighting on a weekly, on a monthly, every 6 weeks or something like that. That's fighting.
Abdullah Mason,
one of your favorites, BVO. You know what I'm saying? Emiliano Vargas. All those guys who
Cremel fight on the 31st.
Absolutely. These are the guys we need to start talking about. Stop giving these guys who ain't in the ring no more and only get in the ring once a year, maybe twice. Stop giving them all this damn press. They don't need it. They ain't doing nothing.
You know, shout out to my man Bartnell, because he made me think about one of my favorite scenes in the Malcolm X movie, where he said the ministers think that Malcolm was getting too much press. And that's what.
Did BVO cut out or is that me?
Yeah,
I think that's BVO. Yeah.
Oh Lord. Well, we'll keep it going though. All I'm saying.
Yeah.
And Free, I want your opinion on that. We need to be giving some of these other guys the opportunities and the voices versus continuously talking about Devin Haney, continuously talking about Tank Davis, continuously talking about Shakur Stevenson, continuously talking about Canelo Alvarez. Man, look, okay, they just fought. When they fight, we give them credit. But outside of that, let's keep it and keep it on these youngsters, man, because these are the up and coming guys, and the up and coming guys are the ones that in 4 years from now, when some of these guys that we talking about every day ain't fighting, well, the new fans ain't gonna have a clue who these guys are. Why? Because we ain't covered them. We ain't talked enough about them.
We ain't talking about them.
And that's what we need. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
no, I understand. I mean, I agree with what you're saying. You wanna push the upcoming fighters because those are tomorrow's stars. You want to push them, But at the same token, you know, people going to do what moves the needle. And talking about the current stars and the former stars is what moves the needle. So people going to talk about that. But I agree. We need to push these young guys and put them on the forefront, because that's how they become current stars, by us pushing them and going to the fights and paying for the tickets to see these guys fight and putting their names out there. That's how they become the current stars, because they're going to stay upcoming until they get pushed into the forefront.
I agree.
But
it's
shout
our
out
job
my guy,
as
Kano.
us. Shout out my brother
hear me?
Kano.
Check,
Cool,
check.
bro. Yeah, we got you, BVO. Shout out T. Dot Hill.
Mr. Chapman in the building.
Guys,
Salute to Mr.
yes,
Chapman.
indeed.
Oh man, salute to my man
guy
Kano.
T. Dot.
But and
Yeah,
salute,
shout out
man,
Kano.
salute. I don't always get to say this, man. Salute to one of the guys that really inspires me, man. He I think he's schizophrenic or something, but shout out to Mr. Baby Oil himself, not Puff. We talking about the boxing scholar, man. Shout out to Mr. Baby Oil
brother,
himself.
wait till the trial over, brother. Wait till the trial over before you do.
Salute to my man Baby Oil. But let me say this real quick. I think the thing that I realize, and I hate to say it, and see, this is what makes me sick. We don't get Beanie Free all the time, but I got to give the Puerto Rican his credit. This fool been coming to work the last few weeks, man. He been dropping some jewels, because I think that's a good point, man, that we can't talk about cats who ain't gonna fight. I mean, because it is what it is, man. Like we see that certain guys want smoke and some guys don't. And no matter what, I just think it's kind of sad that you got so much like worship. Like I actually heard of fans who actually attack Shakur personally and say, "Oh, you're not from this or you're not from that," as if they know him. And it's like when you got fans that invested into these guys, it's kind of I don't like to use that new age word toxic, but I think it's bad for business, man. When you got guys so invested in somebody's personal life, it don't matter where you come from. Either you can fight or you can't. Because you know, he a Puerto Rican, he probably eating rice and beans, sweeping up bodegas all day, and he's happened to be a good fighter.
Whoa, brother.
So,
Whoa. That's racist, brother. But go ahead.
he's sick, man. I don't know what you're talking about. But I the Mike Rim. But that being
shout out
said,
the brother Eric Brooks too. He got a
I
comment.
think Eric Brooks,
we'll get to it.
People got to do a better job of understanding these guys are human too, man. Because if you don't understand that, you're missing a huge thing. But let me ask you guys this. This has been on my mind. Do you guys want to see Beterbiev Bivol 3?
Well, first things first, we need you to get a new phone. You got an Obama phone over there, and your audio sound horrible. So it don't make for a good show when you're hosting, my brother. Respectfully.
Nah, you know what it is, Dub. When BBO go through the hood, he roll the window up and drive fast, and that mess up his reception.
But no.
Y'all know, I got a different perspective on things than y'all, man. And it's gonna sound a little crazy, bro. But this is just what I came to observe. Just paying attention, bro. Because I remember when I was growing up, street ball was really, really popular, man. And I remember Hot Sauce was my favorite ball player, bro. You can make the argument at one time street ball players was almost more popular than NBA players. You know what I mean? And I remember I wanted to know everything about Hot Sauce. I even started eating Hot Sauce, bro. This just me as a kid and how my mind thinking. So the fandom is real. It don't ever leave. Cause if you look out in the audience, bro, in these WWE crowds, it ain't 90% kids. It's 90% adult, 10% kids. You know what I mean? So the fan never leave them. But see, one thing that they come for, they know wrestling fake. They come for the show, bro. So people could say, oh, boxing got hurt by Errol Spence versus Bud not happening 5 years ago. As a competitive point of view, you might be right. But as far as the build-up, that fight was never going to be bigger than what it was. The fans pulling up, arguing with each other, that tribalism, my fighter could beat your fighter, but all that stuff, bro, that added to the lure of the fight. People like to see the show. See, I said Dana White is going to run out of fights in the UFC because he's not taking time to build these fighters up. You gotta make people want to come to the show, bro. How do you do that? Like Top Rank got a whole machine doing it, bro. Bum 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 bum. They that B2K song. Remember bum bum bum. Yeah. They got the machine where they push you through a process, make everybody feel like they was on the journey. A lot a lot of YouTube channels want to be the first channel to say, I told you he was going to be the guy. So they invested. You get everybody invested to him. And then everybody's fantasy start be like, wait. I wonder how this guy will go against that guy. That's the whole business of boxing. Where these fighters exist is in our fantasies. You know what I mean? No Diddy. But like, we be like, man, who will win with Mike Tyson and Muhammad Ali? You could do a 2-hour show.
Diddy. I said no Diddy. I say no Diddy. No Diddy.
You out of order.
No, but see, Boston Scott, the thing is, like, even with the Earl Spence and Bud Crawford, there was a note that they was going to fight. We all knew that Earl Spence said, once I finish getting these belts, I'm gonna go over there and fight Bud. And we knew that Bud wanted to fight. It's just Bud wanted it on his terms, and he wanted it the way he wanted it. So we knew that there was an opportunity for that fight to happen. But with the whole thing like Tank Davis and Shakur, we don't know. We hear that they said they want to fight, and then all of a sudden we hear, oh, this person ducking me, and then turn around a couple of weeks later, oh, no, he's not ducking me. He wants to fight too. So it's no guarantee that we're going to get the fight. Like I said, with the Earl Spence and Bud, Earl said, nah, I told y'all. When I finish cleaning up my side, then I'm gonna go over there and get that belt. And after he fought Ugas, he said, I already told y'all what I was gonna do. They was like, who you want next? He said, y'all know who I want next. I said I was gonna get these belts, and then I'm going after his. So we don't have that right now. We don't know what these guys are going to do. These guys are just leaving it out there in the open. And, oh, yeah, I fight them. They just got to send an offer. Then we heard that they sent an offer. Oh, no, the offer got to be reasonable. So I don't know what's going on with these guys nowadays.
Yeah,
But
I'll disagree.
They don't want to fight.
I'll say this. The thing that's so confusing is, I think what we got now, Scholar kind of alluded to it, is that we got unreasonable fandom now. You got fans who question where somebody grew up, as if that matters. I mean, I grew up in the hood. I never heard nobody say, "Oh yeah, I'm so happy to be in hell. I love it over here." I never heard nobody say that. When I was in the free lunch line, when we was growing up, we used to have some in the summer. So because we was poor, all the poor kids, they would go to something called free lunch. And what they would do is they give you free lunch in the summertime. Because they say, you know what, y'all parents too broke to make sure y'all at least get one meal. We will give y'all one good meal. It's gonna be a bologna sandwich with cheese and some chips, but we gonna make sure y'all get one sandwich. But I said all to say this. I think too many times people gotta understand that it's about the journey. It's not even about the destination. It's about the journey. You get more gratitude out of going through things than you actually do making it. Because you say, you know what? I went through this, I went through that, and me going through all these different things helped me reach where I want to go. But I'm gonna ask you guys this. With that being said, do we honestly think that Turkey is gonna be that big of a bargaining chip to get that Tank fight? Because I don't see Tank leaving Al Heyman. What would you guys say to that?
No. Turkey ain't gonna be around. He already told y'all he had 18 months, and that was what, 4 months ago? He ain't got nothing but like about 14 months, maybe 12 months left. He ain't gonna be around because they still got to do the Zepeda fight, and then after the Zepeda fight, Tank Davis is going to have his fight with Lamont Roach. So we don't know how long it's going to be. By the time they decide to sit down at the table, Turkey going to be doing his TKO thing. So no, he's not going to be a bargaining chip because he ain't going to be around, according to him.
I think Turkey exposed a lot of things about himself more than he did about boxing. We already knew boxing was corrupt and money ran and all that stuff, but he showed that money is enough to get single fights made, but it's so much independent contractors and the sport is so big that one person can't run all of boxing. It just ain't gonna happen. And I ain't gonna lie, I like the free market. You know what I mean? Because it promotes free media as well, and we able to infiltrate these spaces because free media. But I think personally, Turkey exposed a lot of things, but to deep free point, because he made a good point earlier. He don't know if the fight's gonna happen. He knew that Spence and Bud was always gonna fight, which I ain't gonna lie to you, Free. I didn't believe. I said I ain't gonna believe it till the bell ring and they in there. Even if it's signed, I'm like, somebody gonna get injured. That's how they played with us for 5 years. But this why I want you to think about though, Free. If they ever do, let's just say Tank get tired of people talking about his legacy and he decide to fight him. These fans that have made A-side, B-side talks and all this stuff, they gonna, believe it or not, add to the lure of the fight. They're gonna make people do tribalism and all this other stuff. That's what I mean. Like the business of boxing is always on autopilot, whether we know it or not. And it's so big that Turkey couldn't come and take over the sport. Because my personal thoughts on that is TKO, when they brought in Dana White, Turkey's no longer going to be in boxing because Dana White is competitive with boxing. He gonna try to prove to Turkey ain't no money in boxing. So Turkey can leave and go to UFC because he don't like UFC. He be at the fights, but he don't be cheesing from ear to ear like he do, or holding fighters' hands like he do at them boxing events. He like boxing. So Dana White gonna try to flip him, bro.
But speaking of that, man, hold on 1 second. I thought I smelled a double on tomato sauce, but I wasn't sure. Shout out to my man TD Sports, man. Puerto Rican Tommy's in the house, man. What's going on? What you got for me, man?
Yeah, out of order. Adobo and tomato sauce, really?
You know that's how your niggas we get off the elevator. You can smell y'all niggas, man.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he was so out of pocket, it's not even funny. But I say this, man, before we get to the Tank fans, because these Tank fans, some of them are weirdos, and you know, and Kano, he's half German. Yeah, I'm half German. These Tank fans are weirdos. But before that,
when you with you, we smell sauerkraut.
Sauerkraut, yeah. So, but Turkey, I think Turkey's just a guy that got never-ending money, that think he got like a new toy or a new toy or whatever that he could play with and do whatever he wants for a little bit, and then he'll get bored with it and move on. I don't think he really cares about the sport of boxing. Yeah, he's trying to make the best fights, but I mean, he's doing everything all wrong. And we discussed this past Friday, where he's letting these guys say what they want, these racist comments, religious comments, the F all Muslims and stuff like that, and giving them the spotlight, giving them, loads of money and putting them, big fights and, fights that we'll never see again, talking about fights in Times Square. This Thursday, they might announce that they're going to do a fight maybe in Central Park or Arthur Ashe Stadium. He's talking about Alcatraz and stuff like that. It's like he's got a new toy. He's bored and he says, let me try this and let me try that. And I think he's all wrong for the sport, man. At the beginning, we was excited. We was excited, like, oh, he made this fight. He's gonna make, better BF and Bivol. I know some people didn't want that fight, but I wanted to see it. And I think it was like maybe a couple years too late. But we was excited for that. But we haven't really seen anything, from Turkey. We haven't seen these big fights, that he's gonna make. Yeah, Bud and Canelo, this is a big fight, but what is it telling these guys, that have money, these big stars right now, or fighters in general, when they move up, that, hey, maybe I could skip 2 or 3 weight classes and get a big money fight. You know what I'm saying? I think that's wrong, man. It's good maybe for Bud at the end of his career, but you got guys that are gonna look. Who's that? Sorry?
Don't he got other stuff going on too outside of boxing? Isn't he tied into like other sporting events, and boxing ain't the only thing that he's got his hands wrapped into?
Probably not. I mean, when they have the fights in Saudi Arabia, all those fans in the front 2 rows are on their phones talking to each other about something. They're not paying attention to the fights. It's a bad look. You had the fight in Times Square where only like 250 to 300 people could see it live. You need fans in boxing. The fan, when you're a fighter, of course you fight for the money, but what do the young fighters want? They want to be able to fight in front of big crowds.
Yeah, they want that.
So like, you put them in front of 300, it look cool, but that's what they want, man. That's what young fighters want. You telling me that's not what they grow up to be? Like they start off and maybe in a little gym, then they move to like a little, arena or whatever it is, and then they move up to the big Coliseum. I'm just throwing in, then Wembley Stadium or big soccer fields. That's what they want. They want to be able to fight in front of big, large crowds. In front of 50,000 people, if possible. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's all wrong.
What he did though, what Turkey did is made fans forget about pay-per-view. Now fans don't care about what your pay-per-view buys are. Because
nobody cared anyway.
If Turkey what I'm saying is the fans are this guy's the A-side because look how many pay-per-view buys he did and look how many this person did. And that was the thing. We was talking about who brings the butts to the seat. I mean who put the butts in the seats. and who has the pay-per-view buy, that's who makes the A side. When everybody was talking about A side and B side, now Turkey made you say, okay, forget about the pay-per-view buys and who put butts in the seats, because I'm gonna pay these guys top dollar anyway. And so now that's why I said, that's why I've always said it's a bad thing, because Turkey is giving out this money, and then when he decides he don't want to deal with boxing anymore, these guys got to come back to their promoter, and they're expecting to get the same money they was getting when they was dealing with Turkey. Oh no, I can't take.
Happen.
You're gonna have to do a financial reset.
It ain't gonna happen.
Yeah,
Well, let me say this. Let me say this real quick, Freak, because I think one thing that we learned, we had Uncle Stitch on here last week, and shout out to Uncle Stitch, one of the funniest guys you can meet. But Uncle Stitch said that they had a piss poor way of treating the fighters and treating the guys that were a part of the event. When have you ever heard somebody like Uncle Stitch? This dude from the doggone plantation, bro. He don't be complaining. He said wasn't no water out there, wasn't this, wasn't that. I just think really we gotta kind of pay attention to the small things with Turkey. People talking about they not getting paid, and then all of a sudden he pay them, and then they be quiet. But if you think about it, Turkey's kind of showing himself, and I'm gonna go to Dub after this because I want to hear what Dub got to say. But it seemed like Turkey's nothing else but another dirtball promoter, but he just got a smile on his face and a rag on his head. That's the only difference. What would you say,
That's
Dub?
crazy.
So I wouldn't say he had a rag on his head. That's out of order.
Yeah, that's
but,
crazy.
Oh,
BBO's out of
I didn't know that was out of order. My bad. What do you call it? A hijab? Well, he got a hijab on his head. Sorry.
Jesus Christ.
That's crazy.
I don't know what you call it, man.
You gotta call it that. Jay called it, man, Turkey, man. Look, Turkey, and the funniest thing about what Turkey has brought to the sport, and I agree with TD and I agree with Free on a lot of what they said, because the man, he came in, I wanted to see Beterbiev Bivol. I was a fan of that fight. I wanted to see a unification in the heavyweight division as far as bringing the title together with Usyk and Tyson Fury. I was a fan of that. But then what we started to get after that is we getting big names on the same card. They just not fighting each other. Like, wait a minute, hold on. We can't. You got all these heavyweights on this card, and the guys that we want to see fight each other, they fighting. Who knows? You know what I'm saying?
Otto Wallin.
Right. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? And so
he kept getting paydays too.
And that's the same thing on this past card, Times Square card. Yeah, you got T.O. Ryan and Devin on there, but we want to see them niggas fighting each other.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to see them fighting Jose Ramirez. What's the other brother? I can't call his name right now. The one who T.O. beat up.
Ernie.
Rolly and Barbosa.
Ernie.
Barbosa. Yeah, and Rolly. We're not trying to see that. Match them up, put them on the undercard or something, and match them up together. But match the head guys up, man. We want to see the top guys in the sport, which clearly I don't know what I'm looking at anyways, because Rolly put hands on Ryan against the 24-hour live stream. But
yes, he did.
But at the same time, I like what he was doing at first. Now it's getting to the point where, all right, now you're making a more of a spectacle out of this thing than actually putting together the best or making the best fight the best. And so that's what we were hoping to get with Turkey, but it's starting to somewhat wane and go the opposite direction.
I wanted to watch Rolly too, kind of.
Yeah, but you know
what I was saying.
Rolly is a hero. Rolly saved boxing.
A lot of us are old enough to remember reruns, right? Now we all had a favorite show. And one of my favorite shows used to be New York Undercover. When I was a kid, I used to love the little theme song. But once you watch the same show 15 times, you ready to turn it off, man. You ready to watch something else.
When you quote every word, as a child with the Lion King, I knew every word of the Lion King.
Jesus.
Every word.
Hey, that's like
let me follow up on what Doug was saying about the matchmaking.
I know every Martin episode. I know that joint word for word, every single episode. I gotta go a couple of years and not watch it for it to be funny for me again.
You remind me of Romy Rome, but
hey, hold on. I don't remind you no Romy Rome, because you remind us of the goddamn landlord that ain't never got no damn heat in the damn house. You the goddamn landlord.
So who BVO? Brother man on the fifth floor?
No. Puerto Rican. No, BVO, he what's his name? Tommy, man. He ain't got no job, man. He ain't got no job.
That's crazy.
Yo, but let me follow
shout
up.
out to my man Dub cleaning planes out like cold. Shout out to Dub cleaning planes out.
Let me
But
follow up
I
on what Dub said about the
go ahead.
matchmaking real quick. It's not only just about the matchmaking, it's about giving these guys the opportunities to be stars. And then of course I already mentioned the big payday, and
Mhm.
they not deserving it. You gave Ryan a main event platform. You gave him the opportunity to be a star. You had media in there that didn't ask him the questions that needed to be answered. No accountability. After popping dirty, after a year off, you give him you rewarded the guy. And I just think that's all wrong for boxing. And I didn't even mention Tio, and that's all I'm going to say about Tio is just that. I mean, it's all wrong. So it's not just the matchmaking. He's putting the wrong guys in, in the big spotlight. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I want to say. So it's matchmaking and putting these guys that are not deserving of getting that superstar or maybe even a piece of the stardom in these main events or big attractions.
And the crazy thing is, I believe, look, Turkey, he a Muslim, respectfully. And
Yeah,
Ryan Garcia went out there and said, screw all the Muslims.
yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And I'm sitting here like, bro, what are you?
And
And
that's another thing too. I was
he
surprised.
ended up with $20 million.
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing?
I was surprised by that. He said F all the Muslims and Turkey is Muslim. I was like,
Yeah.
he
That
just
guy,
They be
that
over
basically
there.
guy, I
said
mean,
They be over
that,
there.
I don't know what he's doing, bro, but what he's doing is he gonna run out of things. Like you said, it's a new toy. When that new toy get old, because I heard he got other stuff going on, fam. So boxing ain't the only thing he got his hands dipped into. So, I think once he runs out of fights to make, he ain't gonna be thinking about us.
But I got a question for you guys. Something that kind of came up because you guys know Till used to be my guy, man. He used to hang out with the brothers, man, until he started putting on his clan hood. But what do you guys think about T.O. saying, if you think I'm racist, don't dap me up and don't ask me for interviews? What do you think about him trying to push that on the media? What do you guys say?
Good.
I
We
wasn't
don't
gonna
need
dap
them.
you up or say what's up to you anyways, Negro.
Right.
Matter of fact, you're lucky. You lucky that I try my best to be in order. I don't want to put my hands on nobody because I don't want no legal action. I don't want no legal problems. But at the same time, yeah, that what you should be lucky that somebody ain't ran up and stole on you. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because yeah,
I mean, I ain't
This
never see
guy,
him
but
around.
that guy
I ain't
loves
never see him
attention.
around the brothers anyway. So I
Yeah.
knew he wasn't coming over here. He ain't never been on no
Yeah.
brother channel.
Yo, you know
He
what
ain't
he
never coming
Never.
did?
over here.
He did last year. It was I think it was last June, and it was Xander was I believe Xander was the main event, and Shushu was on the undercard or the co-main event. And Shushu was talking at the press conference, and Tio was there at the press conference, and he kept yelling "Shoo York," like he was yelling like in the background, like kind of cheering him, but I think he wanted the attention. Like it was
Mhm.
one of those to get the attention. Like it's something wrong with that dude. Like he's an attention whore, and he's
Yeah.
got problems, he got issues, and this is a guy that doesn't need to be in the sport anymore until he could get his act
Y'all know
together.
what's wrong with him. Y'all know what's wrong with him. The man then thought he climbed Mount Everest when he beat Loma, and this man still hasn't seen $1 million payday.
Yeah.
That's
I
what's
about to say
wrong with
that's
him.
why he ain't made a meal
He
ticket yet.
crazy.
Because the way
Shut
He
up.
trying
Will.
he trying to
the
get $1
way he
million
behaving,
payday.
he
Hey,
ain't gonna get one free. He ain't gonna get
Tommy,
one.
y'all got to hear this, man. Prize, I got to hear this, man. I remember back when I used to follow Tio, we look at the purses, and I think Tio got $1 million exactly, and I think Josh Taylor got 600,000. And that boy free said, and he cried like a baby when he got the $1
I mean, cried.
million.
I made top rank over $1 billion. Nigga, where? Where did you make top rank over $1 billion?
Hey, I think the only fighters that ever made that kind of money, if you equated Nas, probably just three people. Probably just Floyd, Mike, and Ali, to be totally honest. We really don't have like draws like that. They don't come around every year. If you guys think about it, getting Floyd right after Mike Tyson was kind of rare because that was maybe 10 years after.
So it started off with Sugar Ray, then it was Mike, then it was Oscar, and then it was Floyd. That's how it went.
See, I never
Sugar
really
Ray,
counted. I'm gonna tell you why I never counted Sugar Ray, because Sugar Ray was still kind of around while Ali was a
because Sugar
dominant
Ray
force.
was the first $100 million fighter in the sport of boxing. He was the first man to ever make $100 million. So you got to count Sugar Ray. He was the first one to make $100
I
million
guess,
in the
was,
sport of
I
and
guess
let me
boxing.
that's
tell you,
it.
and
Now,
all the
Muhammad
commercials
Ali
he
made
did and the
money.
ads, he was all over
Yeah,
TV.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Sugar Ray was that dude. Even though
I
Muhammad
seen that
Ali
7 Up
was
commercial,
was
man.
the greatest.
Dub right side in it. It was like Baby Dub right side while he was punching the bag. Shout out
That's
to
crazy.
Wow, wow.
Hey Dub, watch that commercial. You ever see like them baby cartoons? Or like a baby version of you in there, man. It was funny, man.
Yo,
But
that's so
Hold
messed
on,
up.
you said what? What was that?
there's a commercial where Sugar Ray Leonard was doing a 7 Up commercial. I said he had a baby version of you in there. You should see the little kid. That wasn't Sugar Ray Leonard's son. That was in there. They tried to say that was his son. If that was his son, that was our dad's. That was our dad's in there, man. Because that wasn't no Sugar Ray Leonard's son in there. But that being said, one thing I want to ask you guys: what do you guys think about seeing? You see what's going on with T.O. You see what's going on with Ryan. Do you guys think racism is going to be something that we have to be okay with? Because there hasn't really been anyone that seems to have fought back or even made any real fuss, other than probably your Clarissa Shields, your Terrence Crawford to an extent. But no one has condemned these guys for that kind of talk. What do you guys think? Is that just a part? Is that the new normal for boxing?
No, it's not. It's not normal. It's not something that you have to be okay with. You just know that it's always going to be there. It's the same thing like racism out on the street. You're never okay with it, but you know it's always going to be there. You just waiting for it to show itself. It's always going to be there. You just got to wait for it to show up. So it's not nothing that you ever going to be okay with. If you okay with it, then there's something wrong with you. You've been so brainwashed to you're not human anymore. To ever be okay with racism, regardless of what race it is. If you ever okay with racism, you're not human. You're just a being on the planet. You're not a human.
Right. Give me some on that. Give me some on that, Doug. Because one thing I'll say, you got a unique perspective growing up in the South. Because it's surprising it don't be as much as people think. Go ahead, Doug.
Man, my thing is first off, it's nothing to be accepted or okay with. None of that. Who cares? Racism is not a learn. I mean, it's not a normal behavior. You don't grow up when if you bring a baby out, they don't know nothing about race, nothing like that. If it's a white baby with a black family that's done been, they don't know nothing about that. It's taught, and so my whole thing with it is, and like you said, coming up in the South, in Middle Georgia, man, some of my best friends are country ass white boys, straight up. And why we came up together, you know what I'm saying? We grew up in the hood together, all that kind of stuff. We all had it, and so, man, this is directly from T.O. Senior. T.O. Junior, he reflects exactly what his father is.
Mm-hmm.
The nonsense, the ridiculousness, the out of orderness. I don't even know if out of orderness is a word, but we're gonna make it one right now. The out of orderness of these people. And so, I mean, that same thing with Ryan Garcia and his parents. That's where you got all these ridiculous ideas and thoughts of.
Yeah.
And then just to think that you're promoting a sport that we all love, and you're gonna use racism when most of the greatest fighters in the sport of boxing were either Mexican or let me say Hispanic. Let me say that Hispanic or black. Most of them, not all, but most. And so to even bring that, and then for you to be man, listen, it's like the pot calling the kettle black, man. For you to be of Hispanic descent, what is he? Honduran. For you to be of that descent, and then to come up and saying some of the things that you're saying right now, thinking that it's funny, right? Oh no, I said liquor, man. You ain't say no liquor. We all heard you. And this ain't the first time you done the whole the whole shout out to my brother Marky Dan. That's why I sent y'all that whatchamacallit he sent me. That had to be the most racist shit I had seen. I was like, I know this nigga didn't send me this.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That you know what, brother? That was, if my grandma would have seen that, God rest his soul, man, she would have flipped out.
That was just crazy.
But my thing, some of this stuff, man, the whole monkey stuff, and this stuff ain't no joke no more. It was never a joke.
No.
And for you to treat it that way and show such lack of respect for individuals that you compete with, and then just humans in general, and think it's funny and all the other kind of stuff. Then had the unmitigated gall to sit there and say, "Oh well, hey, don't shake my hand." Well, we weren't trying to shake your damn hand anyways, man. We weren't trying to get no picture with you. We ain't trying to get no autograph. Matter, like I said, hey, shout out to Kano.
I hope I see T.O. stand coming towards me, and I see Shushu behind him. I was like, "Can I get an autograph, T.O.?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to him right there.
Him behind you. Not you, brother. Go on about your business.
I'm not talking to you. Move.
You lucky I'm still off on you right now. Like I said, I don't want no charges. So shout out to Kano. Kano will let you handle it. You do it better.
And you know the thing that's so unique, man, shout out to Tommy, man, because one thing I could tell you from growing up in Cleveland, I can't speak to a lot of things, but one thing I can speak to, German people share a lot. I'm not talking about German American. I'm talking about people from Germany, Ireland. Those people share a lot of things, share a lot of commonalities with American blacks as far as being under, tyranny and bondage. It's a real thing. I would just say for me, I would love to hear what you think about it, because it's kind of crazy to think a Spanish dude would say those kind of things, because Tio his whole life has been surrounded by black people. So that means he hated people like Bernard Hackett and Jaleel Hackett, people, Gary Antoine. These are people that you always used to see him with. I'm just wondering, what did they say when they heard this? What would you say about that, Tommy?
Well, I'll speak on that in a minute, but I just want to answer the question in general. I think, go back to the word accountability. I think, there's no accountability for these fighters. Look at us. There's 5 of us right here on the panel. We all do not agree with what Teal's been saying. We don't like what Teal said. We all think Teal should be, punished in one way or the other.
Right.
But right now, and I've said this before, there's no media in boxing. There's no real boxing media. You don't have, the articles in the newspapers like back in the day. Like in the San Francisco Chronicle, the New York Times. There used to be articles. There used to be writers that used to hold fighters accountable. You do have boxing websites, but unboxing websites is just, people like us that just create a website, got buzz, and go strong, right? But you don't have the writers. There's so many sports talk radio shows all over the country. I grew up listening to a lot of radio, WFAN in New York, WFNA Sports Radio, 66, The Fan, the Jingle and all that. I grew up on Mike and the Mad Dog and Steve Summers and guys like that. But what they never really spoke boxing. Now I do a show with a guy who's been covering boxing for like 40 years and wrestling. He had a show on WFAN, Keep It in the Ring, and we do Keep It in the Ring. But what I'm saying is that's one radio show, right? With only one segment where maybe he might have had like an hour or two on the radio, 24 hours. That show was 24 hours, right? There was different shows parts of the day, but there's so many other sports radios. Nobody's speaking about boxing. Nobody's holding these guys accountable. You don't see it in the news when they cover the sports section at the end of the news. They're not really talking boxing unless it's like a major fight. It's crazy. You know what I'm saying? And that's the problem. The problem is that it's not getting enough buzz in the media where they're holding them accountable. And then don't let me get started on the sanctioning bodies. You got the WBO, the WBC, IBF, etc. They're not holding them accountable as well. The WBO should have been stripped, Tio of the title. They should have been punished him or fined him. When Broner said what he said about the can, anybody can get it. I mean, I thought he was just being funny, and he got in trouble for that. I mean, it's just crazy, man. And I just think it starts with the media. There's no real media. It's guys like us, on YouTube that keeps pushing and pushing, and eventually something's gonna get done. You got Twitter. Everybody's on Twitter writing stuff, and we got to continue doing that. Continue doing that until somebody holds them accountable for their words and their actions.
Well, even on X.
Real quick,
even on X, go ahead.
Rick, my apologies. If you can't go into a normal workplace and say some of these things that's being said. If you go to your job today and say that if you have a email conversation that some type of way get out, oh, you get fired immediately. You fired
Done.
immediately. And we
You get
regular
written
people.
up.
And now
It's
and this man
finished.
is doing this. He's doing, and there is no TD just said, no accountability from the media. Folks not covering it. Not I mean, you get it, it's like that. It's a snap, and then everybody, oh no. Well, we want to see T.O. fight. Nah, hey, put him in there. You know what I say? Put him in there with Antoine now. Let Antoine go in and help out the cause in this situation. Put him in there with what's my brother name? Damn, Boots. Put him in there with Boots. Oh, you say you stay? That's the fight that you were promised. All right, get in there and get fucked up. Oh, excuse my apologies. My apologies. But that's how you feel, and
Yeah.
the normal everyday average person couldn't do this. Any sport. I remember when what the brother who owned the Clippers, what he was out there. He said
Donald
something.
Sterling.
He said something. Oh, they took it. He
It,
a
they made
billionaire.
him.
They
They
took his.
gave him the death penalty, Dub.
And he said he didn't say nothing as bad as what Tio said.
Nah,
Well, it was still bad. I ain't gonna lie.
it
It
was
was
pretty
bad.
bad,
It was
Dub. I
horrible.
don't
It was
know.
Well,
horrible.
That
let,
was
let, let
pretty
me let me
bad.
say this real quick, man. Shout out to my man Cleveland Runs Boxing in the house,
Yeah,
man.
shout out.
Marcus. Um, I would say one thing that's kind of crazy before we get out of here, then I'm gonna give everybody final thoughts.
Hey,
I just
BVO, before you move on, let me jump in real quick because I
oh
jumped in
I'm
because of
definitely
what
gonna
Tommy said.
I'm definitely gonna bring you in.
All
I
right, bet.
just think this, man. One of the saddest things in the world is that you got so much stuff going on, and one thing that kind of breaks my heart is that no matter what we do, I was talking to a brother at the barbershop, and he was an older fella, as my grandfather would say. He was an older fella. And me and his brother was talking, and it's sad to say that nothing has changed. A black man can't get a break. A black man can't seem to ever get a fair shake at anything. And I just think for us, we always got to be twice as good. We got to be way more buttoned up. It's been times I'm in management. It's been times me as a manager, I got to be way more buttoned up than my counterpart. I seen counterparts get, DUIs, all types of stuff, and still keep their job. If that's us, it's going to be a serious conversation, maybe even losing our job. And it's just sad, man, to see people resort to everything but just doing the right things. It's just like Tio. Tio doesn't want to be Mexican anymore or whatever he is. He wants to be white. We see Ryan playing in the Made in Manhattan like Jennifer Lopez. A lot of people see that with Ryan where he's playing white, and that's what Tio wants. Everybody wants that power. But at the end of the day, man, only what you do for God will last, man. So if you guys are putting all your eggs in this basket as far as earth, man, I guarantee you, man, you're never gonna see what you could possibly see off just doing the right thing. Just doing the right thing. I got a good feeling Tio might end up homeless and broke. I don't know. I don't wish that on him. But when you treat fans like crap, nobody's gonna come pick you up. Nobody's gonna make sure that you're okay. That's a fact. But go ahead, B3, and then I'll let everybody get their burning desires. Go ahead, B3.
Man, salute to the doghouse, man. Shout out to the Sports Talk Network, the People's Network, man. All my guys, Thomas, my guy D Free, of course, Dove and Prize, and shout out BVO and everybody in the chat. I just jumped on really because what Thomas was saying, it alerted me to what the WBO president, the new president, was mentioning today. His last name is Oliveri. Gustavo Oliveri. He mentioned today, right, that they were talking, they was asking him about Tio, and he was even saying he messed up. He at first he said that he heard liquor as well, and then so many people was challenging on it. He kind of reversed back and mentioned and said, well, he got to see the full clip and the unedited clip, and he's a lawyer, so the WBO is not going to do anything to Tio. A lot of the conversation out of the WBO and just this president's mouth specifically was that they in their rules and guidelines, what they want is they can move according to boxing, what benefits boxing. So like for instance, let's say there's like a mandatory or unification fight, right? Even though you may be mandatory for the title, I know we all know unifications trump mandatories, but they are always going to side with business over our personal feelings. So with the Teal situation, a lot of people want Teal to be stripped, but the president is pretty much going to side with business and overlook all the transgressions that Tio has, but even leading up to this point and including this situation. So I just wanted to say that to the people, man. Like BVO was saying, is Tio's not going to get chastised by these major organizations because it's money behind them.
Well,
Not
Tio
a lot
can't
of
sell
money, but a
wine.
little
But you
bit.
gotta remember this though. Tio can't sell wine to a wino. So I mean, this the
Hey,
only dude that can't sell cookies a Cookie Monster. The dude's
what
not
I
a
what
drug.
I
He's not nobody that nobody want to see. But go ahead, Freak. Go ahead.
no, what I was gonna say based off of that, based off of what you just said, B3, we need to boycott the hell out of Tio. We need to be on every platform saying, hey, we need to boycott this fight. Because if they're not gonna move because of the best interest of boxing, if he ain't no interest in boxing, then they're gonna strip him. So we gotta boycott his fight. If they ain't not gonna do nothing, then we gotta do it. Because they ain't trying to, if they're gonna keep their hands tied up, then we're gonna be the ones to untie them.
Yeah, because you'll never see a T.O. Ryan card ever covered here. Ever on BBO Sports TV. You'll never, ever, ever see them covered here. I just want you guys to know that.
Salute to you, BBO.
I'm with
That's
you
a
on it
big
too.
stance. That's a huge stance to take, because when you I'm noticing you put certain names and algorithms and things like that, they kind of pop up. They start moving for you. So for you to take a stance like that, that's major. That means you
Yeah.
supporting you on the right side. Shout out to Dub.
I forgot one more thing.
Oh, even though we know
Tio.
Dub Whiteside did cover that fight
Oh,
though.
I did.
I forgot one more. I might forget one more thing. Teal's not. Teal has a good manager and a good promoter too. It's not like he has some low key promoter. So where's
Yes.
Top Rank's involvement in this? Top Rank should be investigating and punishing Teal as well. And that's crazy. Nobody, I just thought about that. I'm surprised. They haven't been mentioned or made a statement about Teal as well. They represent the guy.
And
So
Yeah,
he ain't no
they don't
factor.
care. They're not gonna try to hurt Tio. They want to try to get something kind of return from him because but he ain't gonna do nothing though. He ain't making. I want somebody to really put him to sleep in
Hey,
the
I don't
ring
know if
or
you guys ever
outside the
seen.
ring.
Have you guys ever
Like
seen that movie? Do the Right Thing.
get him out of here, man.
Have you
yeah,
guys ever seen that movie? And they
Oh
got
yeah.
this beautiful, beautiful Puerto Rican woman named Rosa Perez. She's washed now, but this is back
Oh,
in her prime.
that's crazy.
That's terrible.
One of the things that my baby Rosie said is he's a bum,
Jesus.
to the curb bum. That's exactly what Tio is, the to the curb bum.
Oh my
And
God.
right side, you coming on tonight?
Hey
I
yo,
gotta see, man, because I was supposed to be interviewing Crush. I thought I was gonna solidify it when we got on the show, but I ain't
Ready?
talked to him yet.
Yeah, shout out to Crush. I think Crush might have fell down the steps, man. But we'll
Jesus.
find out.
That's
Oh
We'll
crazy.
my
find
God.
out. But we got a big guest, man. I was talking to this big head brother all week. So coming up Thursday, man, we got one of my favorite big head fighters. I'm not gonna tell you guys who it is, but he coming through. He bringing a smile, and he got green eyes like Smokey, man. So get ready, man. He coming through, man. He coming through, man. And he bringing the green eyes with him. So I want you guys to get ready.
That's crazy.
Hey,
That's
real quick.
that's
Hey, real quick. Is anybody on the panel? Are y'all prepared to be interviewed tonight?
I'm
what
always
time?
prepared for an interview. I do interviews all day long.
What
All right.
time?
What time?
I would love to hear. I would love to see. I would love to hear Puerto Rican Free's life story, man. I
Hold on,
could
Free.
see. Go ahead.
What time you want to do it, Free?
We could do it at your normal time, 11:30.
I bet we'll do that then.
Well, you don't interview a Puerto Rican from the Bronx with blonde
I'm,
hair and green eyes?
Hold on,
going
hold on. You ain't allowed to be up that late. You ain't allowed to be up that late, TD.
We gonna interview the entire squad. You know what I'm saying? Everybody on the team. We gonna all y'all gonna be interviewed. Yeah, we doing it one at
He
a
not
time.
getting no
Hey,
interview. He
hey,
out of there.
if you interviewing the whole terror squad, you're gonna be interviewing all year long.
Yeah, no, that's what the Tuesday show done turned into. It's the interview series.
The whole terror squad.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Puerto Rican trying to make us all Spanish, man. Shout out to my man Free.
You know it's crazy when you interview BVO, man. It's gonna be Cap City.
You already know he's gonna be up.
Oh man, gather. I mean, I'm talking about gather around.
He said he just gonna be lying.
BVO gonna have a sick
Negro.
That's all I can say. On that note, who is that coughing like that about to get up out of here?
That's crazy.
Somebody was talking like they're about to leave this place, man. Shut up. But definitely, man, support, man. You don't get to see. Salute to my brother Bruce Gas, man. I missed the show. I gotta get some more of those gummies, man. I'm gonna get on.
We
that.
didn't even talk about the Tank fans questioning Shakur's past. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna just say this, man.
BBL, did you Photoshop that daggone picture behind me with Shakur? Cause that nigga look like Kid Austin in that daggone picture.
Oh, that's how Shakur. Pardon me. Shakur had a video.
You don't want coughing, fool.
No, I just coughed that one time. But Shakur had a recent photo shoot where the Puerto Rico was taking some new pictures, man, and he definitely physique wise looks like Kid Austin, because from what I'm hearing, Shakur is preparing to go to 140's next fight. I believe he's not gonna get that Tank fight, so they're trying to. From what I hear, I don't know this to be true. I hear that he's trying to possibly make a fight with Gary Antoine at 140. So I don't know if that's true. If that is,
he better go deal with Tank. He better off dealing with Tank. You're gonna deal with somebody that's your height with the same with a longer arm reach. Okay, go ahead.
Well, you know, Gary trying to be right there for him. So that's what I mean. I think it'll be a good fight. But on that note, get ready for my man Free, man. I don't know if it's gonna be Beanie Free, Captain Free, but I know Puerto Rican Free gonna be in the house, man. We going, y'all. Peace.
Jesus.
You got B3 Picks here at it again. Proud to announce a brand new partnership with BVO Sports TV and B3BoxingPicks.com. Let's go green. At B3BoxingPicks.com, we provide pre-fight boxing picks of the week, but also live boxing betting options so we can make money pre-fight or during the fight betting on the beautiful sport of boxing. Join now, only $10 a week or $25 a month by visiting B3BoxingPicks.com for the membership. Also follow me on all socials at B3 Boxing Picks. Follow my YouTube, Not Another Boxing channel, presented by B3 Picks. And shout out to the People's Network, the one and only Sports Talk Network. Let's go green.